Looking for magic cards? At flipsidegaming.com you can now use the promo code LVD to get a 10% discount on orders over $10 while supporting the channel at the same time. Hello and welcome to another Magic Arena gameplay video. This week we're taking a look at a Firesong and Sunspeaker deck built for one of our legendary patrons. So the deck's a red-white lifegain control deck, if you will, built around the legendary creature Firesong and Sunspeaker, 6 mana for a 4/6 that says red instant and sorcery spells we control have lifelink, and whenever a white instant or sorcery spell causes us to gain life, Firesong and Sunspeaker deal 3 damage to target creature or player. So pretty complicated card to wrap your head around, but the end result is that it combines very nicely with some of the newly printed Boros cards, especially with the intervention half of Integrity Intervention, which for 4 mana deals 3 damage to any target at instant speed, and we also gain 3 life, because it's not only a red and white card, which means it triggers both clauses of Firesong and Sunspeaker, but it also has a life gain built in, which means that it synergizes doubly with Firesong and Sunspeaker. So if we have Firesong and Sunspeaker in play, cast Intervention, well, Intervention gains lifelink, and it deals damage, so that means that if it deals 3 damage we gain 3 life, but it already has the 3 life gain built in, which means we gain life twice, which means that it triggers the second half of Firesong and Sunspeaker twice as well, which means we get to deal 3 damage to a target twice, which means Intervention deals a total of 9 damage divided however we want, and we also gain 6 life. So that's a pretty powerful combo with Firesong and Sunspeaker. And another neat synergy with Firesong and Sunspeaker is Deafening Clarion, which deals 3 damage to each creature and can also give our creatures lifelink on end of turn, but especially the first half dealing 3 damage to each creature. Because Deafening Clarion is both a red and a white spell, it means that it gains lifelink because it's a red instant and sorcery, and then because it has lifelink, it will deal 3 damage to each creature, so we also gain 3 life for each creature that's on the battlefield, which will then also trigger the second half of Firesong and Sunspeaker, because it is a white sorcery that's gaining us life, which means we get to deal an additional 3 damage to any target. And that's also a nice one, since then we can deal 3 damage to all small creatures, and if they have one creature that has 4 or more toughness, we could still kill it with the 3 damage from Firesong and Sunspeaker. So looking at the rest of the deck, what makes the deck tick is Dawn of Hope, which is our main card draw engine in the deck, a 2 mana enchantment that says whenever we gain life we can pay 2 generic mana, and if we do draw a card, and for 4 mana we can also make a 1/1 soldier token with lifelink to help us enable the first half. But the main combo with Dawn of Hope is Fountain of Renewal, which is a 1 mana artifact that gains 1 life at the beginning of our upkeep, which means that if we have a Fountain of Renewal and a Dawn of Hope in play at the beginning of our upkeep, we can always decide to pay 2 mana to draw a card, which is quite good, and the more Fountains or Dawn of Hopes we have, the more cards we can decide to draw. And then of course we can also sacrifice a Fountain at any point for 3 mana to draw a card if we need to find some action. Then we also have 4 copies of Revitalize, 2 mana instant that gains 3 life and draws a card. Also works neatly with Firesong and Sunspeaker, since we'll get to deal 3 damage to any target because it's an instant that's gaining us life. Then we also have 4 copies of Justice Strike. This one not as synergistic with Firesong and Sunspeaker, but just a perfectly serviceable removal spell that can get rid of giant creatures that some of our damage-based removal spells might not be able to get rid of, like Galtas for example. Then we've already covered Deafening Clarion, excellent sweeper in our deck. We also have 2 copies of Ixalan's Binding as another removal spell that can get rid of problematic planeswalkers or Conclave Tribunals, for example. If you get rid of the first one, they will be unable to cast future copies, so that one works out nicely as well. Then we've got 2 Cleansing Novas as additional sweeper effects for those creatures that we might not be able to kill with our Deafening Clarions, and can also destroy all artifacts and enchantments, but we're probably not going to be using that mode a whole lot, given that we've got quite a few valuable enchantments and artifacts ourselves. Then we also have 2 copies of Lyra Dawnbringer as an additional finisher. Of course, we can also win the game by just making a bunch of 1/1 soldier tokens with Dawn of Hope, or just by burning the opponent out in combination with Firesong and Sunspeaker. And then our mana base is pretty straightforward. We have a lot of lands, since we do want to get up to 6 mana reliably, and we can always use extra mana with Dawn of Hope, drawing us extra cards. So we're playing a total of 26 lands, skewed towards white, so we've got 9 plains, 7 mountains, then 4 of each dual land, Clifftop Retreat and Sacred Foundry, and also 2 copies of Field of Ruin to get rid of opposing problematic non-basic lands. So that's the deck. Now let's jump into some games and see how the deck does. Alright, what about this one? Bit land light, a lot of expensive cards. But I think we can still try and keep this one. We are playing 26 lands for a reason. And we get a redraw with Revitalize. Turn 1 swamp. Black-green deck and a Burglar Rat. Let's see what we draw first. Donophobe, that's a good one. So what are we not gonna need? Black-green, maybe a creature graveyard-based deck. Could just discard one of our expensive spells here. Could discard Intervention, although that's a cheap removal spell. How good is Lyra gonna be? Is she just gonna die to a Ravenous Chupacabra? Maybe Firesong's just gonna die to a Chupacabra. I think we'll discard Firesong and Sunspeaker here. Part of the reason discarding it over Lyra is that we have 3 more copies in the deck, whereas we have fewer Lyras. And I'm pretty sure that by the time we would be able to cast it, we'll have drawn another one anyway. But if they were to play another Burglar Rat here, I would probably just discard Lyra, since I don't expect our creatures to stick around. Opponent's likely to have creature removal. Alright. Another rat. So let's discard Lyra. Yeah, these Burglar Rats, definitely pretty annoying. In the early turns when you don't know exactly which cards you will need. Justice Strike's nice. I think we just say go. I'm fine letting our opponent keep land or elves for a turn. Since we can kind of wait and see if we need to Cleansing Nova right away, or if we can afford to make some tokens with Donophobe. Three mana for Playcrafter, which is going to force us to discard. Alright, so probably discarding Justice Strike would be my guess. So that resolves. Opponent sacks a rat. They probably should have considered attacking first, but maybe they didn't want to attack into our Donophobe token. And another rat. Well, opponent's getting us empty-handed pretty quick here. Pretty annoying, not gonna lie. So, yeah, I think we just discard Intervention. We could just Intervention Playcrafter, and then the 1/1s can deal with their 1/1s. But if we just top deck a land for Cleansing Nova, that's a cleaner answer. So let's do that. And I don't think I trade for my token yet, since I might want to be able to draw cards with it. Another Donophobe. Don't really need a second one. If they make us discard, I would probably rather discard second Donophobe over Cleansing Nova. Yeah, I think I just say go here. And then we can kind of decide whether to draw cards with the token or make another one. Walk the plank. Alright. Opponent's only got 1 card left, so if we resolve the Cleansing Nova, then we're gonna start pulling ahead with the Donophobe. Ooh, Golgari Frinebroker's a good one. Can get back another rat. Alright, I think I'm chum blocking the Playcrafter here, just to preserve our life total. Alright, and there's a land. So let's clean up this mess. And then it's going to be us on 5 lands with a Donophobe versus our opponent with a Burgle Rat. Don't hit our chances. Yeah, now we can activate Donophobe plus draw a card if they attack. So they probably won't. They are attacking. I guess if they have another discard effect, they just want us to draw the card, but I'll oblige. Clarion can clean up as well. And a Revitalize. So let's just pass a turn, I think. We could Revitalize, draw a card. Yeah, maybe to hit our land drops, we can just do this now. And then just play a Sacred Foundry instead of making a token. Although maybe making a token was just better if they miss on a creature. Ooh, nice. Got our Fountain combo now. So we're slowly but surely gonna outdraw our opponent. They need something powerful like a Planeswalker here to take over. Vraska could be problematic, especially the 6 mana one. Looks like a Find Broker here. Opponent's looking through their graveyard. Instead it's Find from Find Finality. Getting 2 creatures back. Yeah, that's a good one too. Find Broker can get back another rat. Playcrafter can make us discard. So that works. But at the end of the day, I think we're still fine. So let's draw some cards. Just some lands. Chupacabra. All right. And as soon as we find a second Donophobe or a second Fountain, we're just gonna start drawing 3 cards per turn. This turn we can make 2 tokens with Donophobe. Find Broker gets back. Plague Rat, it's fine. If they attack us, I'll just make 1 token and draw 2 cards with Donophobe instead. Opponent is attacking. So yeah, we can make a token and then double block Playcrafter, and then we gain life twice, so we can pay 4 mana and draw 2 cards here. Alright. Let's discard a land. Alright. And there's Firesong. So how much mana do we have? 3, 4, 5, 6. We're 1 short of Firesong and then cast Intervention, which is what we want to do. So I think we wait 1 turn with deploying it, just to make sure that it works out and that they don't just Chupacabra us. So let's just pass a turn. Should be able to take 1 attack. Opponent's attacking. I think we just take it. And then make 2 tokens end of turn. So I think I'll decline drawing a card here to make sure that we'll get to pull off our combo. I think we target Chupacabra first to make sure they don't kill Sunspeaker at instant speed. And then with the 2 extra 3 damage effects we can finish off Findbroker. And then we can start attacking. Alright. So yeah, just a single Dawn of Hope eventually pulled us ahead. Walk the Plank kills Firesong, but we got our value. And another Findbroker, fair enough. Findbroker can find another Findbroker, and that's a pretty nasty loop. So we don't want to be playing Lyra, otherwise they know to get Chupacabra. But we're fine playing a long game here. Alright, they will play Findbroker. And what's it gonna get? Chupacabra anyway. And do they play it? They're gonna keep it in hand and they won't bother attacking. We're just gonna make some tokens here. And this is also why we play so many lands, is for when we do have Dawn of Hope going. Every single land is very useful. So again, not in a hurry. Let's just say go. Do have to be careful that they don't find another Find Finality to wipe the board. They do pull the trigger on Chupacabra. So now Lyra's looking a lot better. We're halfway through our deck, so decking is not really a concern yet. As we only had the 1 Dawn of Hope and Fountain. As soon as we find a second copy of either of one, then we'll start drawing even more. Alright, so what do we do here? Probably just make a bunch of tokens. And then I guess we can Revitalize just to cycle it. Cleansing Nova's insurance. Alright, and there's another Fountain. And Lyra can survive the finality part of Find Finality. Alright, so this game should end pretty soon here. Opponent has a couple of draw steps to find an answer. But even then we'll be so far ahead on resources. And I actually think we decline here. That way we can play Firesong and just deal 9 to the face. Yeah, Intervention dealing 9 damage for 4 mana is quite a bargain. Sweet, on to the next one. Alright, we're on the draw. This hand looks fine. Probably will have to cycle through one of these fountains to find more action. Don't mind seeing turn 1 mountain. Although it's looking like a Boros deck with a turn 2 fresh face recruit. Alright. Think we can afford to play another fountain here. There's a chance we need just to strike this turn to maybe kill a Tajik. And we're gonna regret playing another fountain here. Instead just a Sky Knight Legionnaire. So our opponent ported over their draft deck to construct it. And a Healer's Hawk, yep, that's fine. So this Cleansing Nova is gonna be decent. It's more mana efficient to sacrifice a Fountain here than it is to cast Revitalize. Yeah, I think we do sack a Fountain, that way we can go Revitalize plus Justice Strike next turn if we have to. since we do really want to find land number 5 for Cleansing Nova here. And there's a Donophobe, perfect, so we'll go Donophobe plus Revitalize, and then hope to draw land 5 to clean up the board. Hunted Witness, fair enough. Another Healer's Hawk. Yeah, this is not going to go well for the opponent, sadly. Clarion would have been good enough as well here. And there's our land, so now we don't need to draw cards with Donophobe, since we know we're gonna Cleansing Nova. And then next turn, if we draw land, we can drop Firesong. If not, we have some other options available. So for now we'll decline. Alright, no land, but we can play another Donophobe, seems fine. Boros Challenger seems okay. Can't kill it with our Justice Strike, but Intervention will be able to kill it. Yeah, too bad that you don't get to see which card you draw before you have to decide whether or not to draw cards with Donophobe here. I think I'm gonna just draw 2 cards here, ensure that we find a land. Although now we could stop and just play Intervention. Depends how much damage we want to take from Challenger and Friends here. I think we can afford to pay another 2. More Donophobes and more Interventions. Alright, let's play this tapped. Say go. Take a beating from Challenger and the token. And then we can decide if we want to just kill their stuff or first deploy Firesong, so that we get the extra bonus. In the meantime, if we draw a Clarion, that would clean up nicely too. Alright, so we're taking 5 down to 10. Let's decline. And a Lyra's decent too. I think I'm still going with Firesong here. It's the card we built the deck around, so we want to see it in action. And hopefully their last card is not a Conclave Tribunal. Otherwise we might be in a little bit of trouble. Just a Hunted Witness. And Boros Challenger is gonna activate. And they're just sending. Alright. Don't think there's anything for single red we need to be afraid of. They might save the Boros Challenger with a pump spell, but that's fine by me. Alright, so we're down to 7. And now we get to go off. Let's decline. Another Firesong. It's legendary, so don't want to have 2 of them in play. Alright, so with this turn we can probably Intervention the Hawk. And then kill this. Kill this. And then we'll pay 2. Play land, say go. Could attack for 4 here, but yeah, our opponent has seen enough. Sweet, so got to see Intervention combined with Sunspeaker there. On to the next one. Alright, we're on the draw, and this hand is looking good. Double Donophobe is where we want to be. And then a bit of removal with Clarion, which hopefully keeps us alive. Alright, against the mono-green decks, if they drop an early Steel Leaf champion, we could be in trouble. Deafening Clarion definitely not a clean answer to everything they can present. We'll see what kind of start they have. Brontodon can also be annoying as it blows up our Donophobe, but luckily we've got a second copy. So if they spend Brontodon killing it, I'm okay with it. Yeah, our best cards in the mono-green matchup are Cleansing Nova, Lyra Dawnbringer, and Ixalan's Binding is very good too. Justice Strike to kill Galtas. So we're hoping they kill the Donophobe as soon as possible with the Brontodon, and then Clarion can deal with Elves and Harpooner. So we don't want to show them the second Donophobe before they kill the first one. Otherwise they will just ignore it, and we actively want them to destroy the first one. So could Clarion here. It's probably fine still. Slows down a potential Galta, which we don't have an answer for. And then next turn we can Revitalize plus draw card potentially. Using Donophobe. Impulse. Finds a Druid, that's fine. 2 creatures that survive Justice Strike. Alright, I think we could also consider doing it now, Revitalize, just to make sure we draw the card. Otherwise they could respond with Brontodon, but are we happy that they do? I don't think there's a reason to really take that risk, given that we don't have any other plays available. So let's just do it main phase. We don't represent Saddle the Wreck, which is the only downside. Alright. So drew a nice pocket of lands. Hopefully we're close to finding a Cleansing Nova. And Colossal Majesty. Not an issue right now, but definitely could be a problem if we don't find removal soon. And are they considering destroying Donophobe? Nope. Well, we are flooded on Donophobes, which is usually a good thing, but now it's not great, since we want them to blow up the first one, so we can actually play the second and third copy. And we would much rather find an answer to their creatures first. Don't think we're in chump block mode quite yet. We would much rather chump and then be able to draw cards with Donophobe as well. Alright, there's a Fountain, so now our opponent might be tempted to blow up the Donophobe. So I think we're patient one more turn here. Play Fountain. Play a tap land. If they blow up Donophobe, then we'll make another token, I think. And if they don't blow up Donophobe or Fountain, then we just get to draw an additional card every turn. I guess we could have played an untap plan in case they somehow decide to kill the Fountain instead of the Donophobe. But I imagine they kill Donophobe over Fountain in the spot. Nullhide Ferox. Not a huge problem given that we can just chump block it with our tokens, but it draws the opponent extra cards with Majesty, which is the main concern here. And yeah, our opponent's just not interested at all in blowing up our Donophobe. Alright, let's just make a token. And don't think we're in chump block mode. I will still draw a card here, since we can still cast a Cleansing Nova if we draw it. No such luck. Alright. Probably just drawing some cards with our tokens. Opponent's drawing extra cards as well. Yeah, if they find a Galta before we find a Cleansing Nova or Justice Strike, and there they go. Could be in a bit of trouble. And a Vine Mare, so yeah, Cleansing Nova looking pretty great here. Do only have 2 copies. Clarion would still be okay, but not great. We'll see what happens. Opponent's just sending. Well, it definitely worked out for the opponent that they didn't blow up the Dawnophobe, but maybe not the best idea in general. Alright, Justice Strike and answer Galta, or the Nullhide Ferox. And there it is, perfect. Right on time. So we can afford to draw a card. Let's clean this up. And then what do we discard? Probably just a land. And our opponent scoops it up. Alright, well, there you go. 1 Cleansing Nova beats the green deck. On to the next one. Alright, we're on the draw. What about this hand? Seems okay. Hopefully Clarion does some work. And a turn 1 Dimir Guildgate, so blue-black control maybe. Yeah, the blue control matchups are not going to be great. So hopefully it's something else. Untapped Watery Grave. Are they gonna take a look at our hand? Thought Erasure. Nope, Discovery. We do have an Ixalan's Binding at least to deal with a potential Planeswalker. But Clarion and Cleansing Nova looking like pretty dead cards. And a Psychic Corrosion. Well, good thing we've got Ixalan's Binding here. More fountains. Yeah, let's just double fountain. And then get rid of the Psychic Corrosion as soon as we can. Opponent's playing green as well, so they could easily have answers to our binding. I guess Cleansing Nova can also blow up enchantments, but then we'll have to get rid of our fountains first, so we don't lose them. But I think I'm just gonna play the binding here. Could get countered, I suppose. Gets negated, so opponent playing double negate main deck. It's ambitious. Alright, so our plan is to sack a bunch of fountains and then play Cleansing Nova to clean up the board. Yeah, this matchup is not looking good for us. Maybe should have sacked the fountain main phase in case we find a Dawnophobe. Just the plains. So now we can sack both fountains if we want to. And then Cleansing Nova can get rid of Corrosion. But our opponent's probably keeping up some counter spells here. Alright, let's go for it. So gonna get syncopated for x equals 3. Alright. So Psychic Corrosion slowly milling us. Not a huge concern yet, but will be soon. Our deck's not great at closing out games, since we're just a pile of removal spells and life gain. Weight of Memory, yep. So we've got one draw step here to find an answer, but they'll probably have drawn a second Psychic Corrosion in the meantime. Alright, now we're pretty dead. Can check and see if our opponent has any basic forests in their deck. I guess we'll do it in their upkeep. Yeah, I think any deck with blue in it is going to be favored against us, except maybe the mono blue tempo deck or some Merfolk decks we're probably going to wreck. But yeah, any control-based blue deck that doesn't play many creatures, we're going to be unfavored against. Opponent does have basic forest. And not a ton of cards remaining. And we don't have a ton of relevant cards for the matchup. Just our Ixalan's Bindings, Cleansing Novas. Just trying to apply pressure with Dawn of Hope. If we had an early Dawn of Hope, then maybe we could have had a chance. But the green could also be for disenchant effects like Assassin's Trophy. Opponent gets back Weight of Memory, they can cast it. And that's almost gonna kill us here. Can have a look at which cards we milled already. Could be that we don't have any Dawn of Hopes left in our deck. So there goes Dawn of Hope, number 2. I guess we still have 2 of them in the deck, so yeah. I mean, we could still draw one, but it's probably too late now. Let's see, Lyra's gone, both Lyras are gone. And then 2, 3 Firesong and Sunspeaker. So we do still have some good cards left in our tiny 8-card deck here. But yeah, these are kind of all the dead cards in the matchup. And yeah, that's just a thing with this type of deck. You're gonna have some very bad matchups. Could be improved by jamming more Planeswalkers in the deck. But those don't always work out well versus the more aggressive decks. And in red-white, the only Planeswalkers you can consider are Karn and Huatli, which, yeah, you don't have the best synergy with. Alright, well, we died to a single Psychic Corrosion. Opponent didn't have to do much else. And that's gonna do it. On to the next one. Alright, we're on the draw. This hand looks fine. Turn 1 Supplier, so some sort of graveyard deck. Ooh, Anizoni, yep. Yeah, graveyard decks can definitely be problematic, since don't have a lot of ways to stop recursive threats. So if they can ever flip something like Journey to Eternity, we'll be in trouble. I guess we do have to Field of Ruins. We'll see. If they don't have Journey, then we might be okay with our sweeper effects. Let's have a look here. Opponents on the Lothleth Giant plan, which can also be pretty scary in our spot. Alright, well. Probably just have to Revitalize here. Could also just strike the Shaman, which is probably fine. Don't really want to take 3 for a while. Demon of Catastrophes. Alright, so we probably want to kill that instead then. So we'll take 4. Could have also been better to just Revitalize here to ensure that we hit our land drop and then just to strike the demon on their turn. Yeah, probably would have been better. Alright, luckily we drew the land anyway, so we're good to go. So now we get more value from Revitalize, so in the end it worked out better. Yeah, Molder Hulk, it's a good one too. Do they have a memorial to get back? If they don't, it's good. So we'll have to find another Justice Strike. Maybe a Cleansing Nova. But our opponent's almost empty-handed, so they don't have a lot going on if we can answer the Molder Hulk. And there's Cleansing Nova, so can we draw land? We cannot. Alright, so... Are we gonna take 6 to the face, or do we just make a chump blocker with Dawn of Hope? That seems better to me. They could have a removal spell at instant speed, which would mess that up. Then we would take at least 10, which is sketchy, but I think that's still our best bet here. Yeah, we're playing 26 lands to make sure this doesn't happen. Don't think we can afford to go to 27, since it's not like we're a blue deck with a bunch of cantrips. Another Demon of Catastrophes, arguably a good thing if we can find our land here. And we're definitely chumping Molder Hulk over trading with Shaman here, since we just have to draw land here. Alright, a land one time. Oof. That was a close call. Well, now we just want to draw lands for the rest of the game, and we'll be fine with all these Dawn of Hopes and Fountains. Binding's good too. So we can Fountain, make a token. Seems good. That's a big Lurcher, but that's fine, doesn't have Trample. So Dawn of Hope can just block it forever. And I think we'll draw a card. Could also Binding it, I guess. But would we rather keep Binding in case they have another demon? Let's see how many demons are gone. 2, 3. I guess they only have 1 demon left. Alright, so we probably just... Yeah, I guess we do still draw since we want to hit our land drops. If we miss on our land drop, we just jump for a turn, otherwise we'll Binding. I guess Justice Strike also works. But how many Lurchers do they have? No Lurchers in the graveyard. They also showed Charnel Troll, which has Trample, which is a bigger issue, but we have a Justice Strike either way. So I'm okay going for the Ixalan's Binding here, I think. Could get punished if our opponent draws like 2 Charnel Trolls in a row. But if we can get Sunspeaker down together with Intervention, we can still kill a Charnel Troll before it gets out of hand. And I think we'll decline and drop a Sunspeaker here. Try and turn the corner. And Sunspeaker combined with Intervention closes out games pretty quickly. Just a Lanor Owls, that's fine. So we can afford to draw a card here, give us more info. And a land is good. So now we can Intervention, killing this. And we could kill the Lanor Owls, but we could also just go face. I think we go face. And then we can still draw an extra card, because why not? And then attack. Opponent's down to 9. If we top deck another intervention, they're dead. But our opponent's just gonna scoop it up here, too far ahead with all our card draw. Sweet. Alright, I wanna thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this gameplay, and as always, have a nice day. I also wanna thank all my patrons for being part of the channel, and you can become a patron yourself today and decide the topic of future videos over at patreon.com/LegenVD.